Hello everyone, this is Rex Red, and I figured I would check in with my CBB TV fans tonight for a little bit. And this is gonna be mostly, well, I'm gonna be working on a song, but while I'm working on the song, we're gonna talk about beats versus songs, okay? And what exactly is the difference between a beat? You hear people talking about beats and buying beats, and we don't mean the kind you buy at the grocery store. These are the kind of beats that you buy and you put them in the background and you like rap over them or sing over them. It's the kind of thing where, so you buy beats, and typically a beat, hey Angus, how are you? How are you? So yes, I hope you are wonderful, my friend, tonight. And we got a little bit of polka going on here too. Hello, hello. So we are going to talk about beats and songs. This is going to be a very in-depth study about beats and songs. And when I say beats, think about like B-E-A-T, okay? It sounds like I'm talking about beets and turnips and squash, but I'm not. We're talking about beats, like B-E-A-T, like the beat of a song, okay? And what a beat traditionally is just a little section of a song, okay, where you buy this part right of the song, and that's it. And you buy that little section here, and you just repeat that section over and over, and then you rap over it, okay? Now that's the traditional idea of a beat, is like it's more than a beat. It's maybe a measure. Maybe it's 4 measures, which we call bars, okay? So it's 4 bars. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1 bar. 2, 2, 3, 4, that's 2 bars. 3, 2, 3, 4, that's 3 bars. And 4, 2, 3, 4, that's 4 bars, okay? So, and you buy that. You buy that section, and you just repeat it over and over and over until you run out of words, and then you end the song. And that is how a lot of music is made. And sometimes you'll take and you'll add other instruments to those beats. And so that is the idea of a beat. But if you think of it in the purest sense, where a beat is just like a kind of a small little segment of a song, which it can be a whole song. I mean, you can buy a beat that's a whole song, but theoretically, that's not usually what a beat is. A beat is like a certain kind of jive that you buy that allows you to, and they also call them loops. Like a beat is usually a loop. It's like always a loop, pretty much. And so you loop that over and over and over and over until you run out of words, and then you end your song. Now, the difference between that and a song, okay, because you see, I bought this. This is what is called, by at least one company. These are not universal terminology, but I'm trying to use this terminology in a kind of loose way to understand the difference between beats and songs, beats with quotations and songs with quotations. Because like a song, and we're not talking in a pure or absolute sense. We're just trying to use this terminology loosely so that we can discuss the difference between beats and songs. And so this, when you listen to this is the whole song. This just goes on, and it gets quiet here, da da da, where you sing, And then it's the whole song where you see I purchased the whole song, and it slowly kind of builds up, and you're singing in this part. This is the verse part. Da 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 da, and then we get to the chorus here. It goes, let them, it's just like that. It's like, so you get to the chorus part, and so you don't need to loop anything theoretically. You can chop it up and you could cut segments out. You could repeat a little teeny sliver or a segment to make a certain area longer. But basically, and the thing is, this lines up with the computer's beat. So as you can see, like this 4 lines right up with the music. See how the 6, see there's like a beat here, and it lines right up because I have lined it up. I looked and found out that this is 116 beats per minute. The BPMs is 116. So I looked at this beat. I lined it up to the second, the beginning of the second measure, and then I used my metronome here to figure out how many beats per minute until the metronome stayed, and every time, and you can see the measures here. I arrived at this 116, and it works perfectly all the way to the end of the song. Okay, so we have this 116, and it just works perfectly right to the end of the song. You can see that with that 116, it doesn't go out of time. Right to the end, it's right there at exactly. And now, if it was slightly off, it wouldn't line up here. This 189, measuring 189, is right there at the beat. And this even has an ending or an outro. So what the industry is doing for musicians, okay, and rappers and song makers is they're selling beats, which are very popular with rappers, and songs, which are very popular with singers. But the ultimate thing is that rappers are going to buy a beat and turn it into a song by just repeating that beat, okay? And the problem with buying a beat versus buying a song is that the beat is going to be the same throughout the whole song. You're just going to loop it and play it over and over and over and over and over. And maybe that's exactly what you want, okay, is just the beat to play over and over and over, and that you are the distraction from the beat. Your voice and your rapping and all is that distraction, so that people don't say, all right, I've heard this loop 50 times, enough, okay? So, but the thing is the same places where you buy beats and loops, you can buy songs possibly that where the beat, comes back, the loop comes back into that beat when you go to do the verse, but it grows like this, like there's all of a sudden, in the rap song, there's the chorus part that comes in where you repeat the chorus, and the music can change there, and those changes help your fans enjoy your music a little more because it's not so competitive. It has a little bit of a change in it, and this song, it has a little bit of a change because this part of the song gets real quiet, and this is what you want for when you start singing. When I met you, then I knew you were the one for me. So this is going to be in, and then when I get to the chorus part, it's because we let love flow. Let love grow. Now we can know. Okay, so this is kind of like this is the chorus part. And it does have a slight difference. And there's another part up in here, I think. Yeah, here. So we go in here now. And if this was just a loop, you wouldn't have this part. Okay? Dun, dun. This is like the bridge. All right? And then you go into the chorus again. Let love flow. This is called Let Love Grow. Flow. Let love grow. Now we can know. The show. 'Cause we love flow. All right, so this is there's this possibility that you go and buy beats and you get this little teeny tiny, like sometimes it can be just a measure where it just loops over and over and over. And you can add other stuff to that, other instruments and everything, but it doesn't have the change like this change here, where it's like it's going into it like this, and then all of a sudden it changes chords. Right here, where it goes. He's da da. So it da. See, it's like a change. And see, because even during the verse, it's like this. This is like a loop in the background, kinda. Because when you get to the chorus, it's still that same kinda, but it's just with more stuff filled in. So it is just the same thing. And so technically, this is all a loop until it gets to here, where to here, and then it's like that's not part of the loop, and then you go back to the loop. Okay, so as an artist, I would say as a beginning artist, okay, that you're fine probably just buying loops and looping that loop and singing your lyrics and then mixing it in at the end and publishing it out to your fans. And then you go buy another loop and you write some more lyrics and you loop that loop over and over and over and over and over, and then until you run out of lyrics, and then you rap to it. And you put that out. That's kind of what's like old school, or sometimes called that, or underground, or it's just like a quick little loop that just goes over and over and you just rap to it. That is fine as a beginning artist because you're still honing in on your skills, your music skills, and how you make music and how to play instruments and how to use your DAW and all that stuff. It's fine to start out that way. As time goes on, your music, you may want to become more sophisticated with your music. And so then you might just want to add a few like trumpets coming in, or something, other instruments, a guitar coming in or something, or just maybe more percussion coming in, things like that, or sound effects like sirens and that kind of go zhoo back and forth from your head and stuff, things like that. You might want to add stuff to spice up the beat, but the beat is still going to be this repeating thing. It's just going to repeat over and over. And so you're adding all this stuff and everything. And when you just buy a beat, you rap to it, and you publish it, you can put out like a couple. You can put out a couple songs, maybe even 3 new songs a week, because all you got to do is write the songs, rap them, and upload them, and buy a new beat, write a song, write some lyrics to it, rap it, and upload it. That's it. It's easy to do that. But then when you start adding stuff like sirens and different sounds, different effects, different instruments to it, then, you might end up taking a week or 3 or 4 days, 5 days to make a song. And so no longer can you just take that beat, loop it over and over and over, rap to it, and upload it. You've got to take some time to put those instruments, edit those tracks, edit your vocals, and mix it all together, master it, and then upload it. So you might end up, it could take you anywhere from a few days to a week to make a song. And then, because you have to incubate, you have to think about the song, you have to say, you have to have those moments where you run off and walk through some field of flowers or something, and you think, oh my God, yes, this needs a piano. It's just things have to come to you about your songs. You have to have these epiphanies, and they visualize the song and all. So it can take you a week because you have to sleep on it. You have to think about it. You make the song, and then you have to let your ears rest, and then you have to come back and listen to it again and say, what the heck, what did I do? What did I make? Is this good? And you come back and your ears are all warmed, are all rested, and you say, wow, this sounds terrible. And you fix it, and then it sounds beautiful. So suddenly your songs take longer to make. And because you're no longer just using a beat and doing it old school and just rapping to a loop and uploading it, you're adding tracks and you're carving out the song. But in the end, what's going to happen is, so you're going to end up with some more sophisticated songs. You're going to end up with songs that aren't just a loop. They have things coming in and exciting elements that draw your attention away from the fact that there's just this loop playing over like a broken record in the background, okay? So it draws you away from that. And sometimes you can take a couple of loops and you can stick them together, and it plays one loop and then plays the other loop and then plays one loop, or this other loop just comes in at a certain time. You can mess around with loops. But the thing is that really it's a loop. It's something that's just going over and over and over and over again. So how do you get around that? Well, you can make your own beats. And you make your own beat, and when you make your own beat, then you are in control of all of the elements in that loop. You're in control of if there's a piano in the loop, and there's a violin in the loop, and there's drums in the loop, and there's a bass guitar in the loop. Well, you can just decide when you want the violin to come in, when you want the drums, and that maybe the drums loop through the whole song, and the bass loop through the whole song, but the violin and the piano only come in certain parts, because you're not, when you buy a loop, it's all glued into that loop. You're just stuck with that loop. And so you just loop it, and that's all you can do because it's all glued into that loop. But if you create your own loops, which some people have a very difficult time doing that, okay? So there's a good possibility that you could spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to create your own loops. It's not impossible, but it can take years to learn how to make loops, because you have to know how to play some instruments. You have to know about sounds. You have to have a good repertoire, a palette of sounds. You have to know about different instruments. And you have to know how to possibly extract little loops from music and how to blend them into some kind of bass track and a basic track. You can try to learn to make loops. You may fail for a while, for a long time, until all of a sudden you get it, and you start to get to learn a program, that I would call it. For you get this set up, you get that set up, you put in the beat, you go through a process, and you learn how to kind of craft a beat. And the thing is that every beat is different. Every beat is going to be a different process. Even though you may follow the same kind of program, it's going to be like this beat may have strings in the background, where another beat might have guitars in the background, and another beat might have organs in the background that are really kind of funky sounding with effects on them. So yeah, they may still have like a 505 drum track in the background, which you don't want every song on your album to have the same drum sounds. And it's like, yeah, the 505 is cool, but it's after a while, after listening to 4 or 5 tracks on the album, and they all use the same exact drum beat, then you got a problem, because people just kind of think, all right, enough of this 505. I've had enough. I don't want to hear any. I don't want to hear even a tambourine. I don't want to hear any more of this. So, or a hand clap, the same hand clap through all 12, 15 songs on your album. So you have to take, and so you may run through a program in making your beats, but your beats have to vary. They have to be kind of different, and it's the more different, kind of the cooler they are. And so so if you're not so good at making a beat yourself, so you're good at buying them and picking a good beat and rapping to that beat, writing some rap lyrics or writing some song lyrics and looping that beat and then rapping to it and mixing down your song and uploading it to the internet. You're good at that. So how do you go further? And that's where, instead of looking for a beat or a loop, you look for a song. Okay? And there are companies out there that sell loops, they sell samples, and they sell songs. And that's what this is. This is what I did. I bought this, okay? This is something that I have the royalty rights to use. So do other people. Other people can buy the same exact music, and they can make their song to it. And you hear somebody's song, and then you go hear another song, and it's like, that's the exact same song, but with just different music to it. And that's exactly right. It's because 2 people bought the same song, just like you can have a rap song that has the same beat in it. 2 people bought the same loop, the same beat loop, and they put it in their song, and they wrote rap lyrics to it and uploaded it to the internet. And so you've got 2 songs that have the same loop in the background, but a whole different story and a whole different feel and a whole different artist interpretation for that beat and loop. So what is better, loops or songs? Well, songs are better than beats, okay? Songs are always better than beats, because, you in that with a song, every few bars is a beat that you can loop. Like, I can loop this. Let's do right here. All right, so I can take this right here and cut it. Say split, cut it. Where are we going to go here with? Let's go with half notes. And I'll cut this right here. And what I can do is I can come up here and start a new track. Okay. And I can take this and put this up here. And then I can just copy it and copy it and copy it. So I can take this and I will mute this track and we go here. Oh, that's really loud. Sorry about that. See, it's just a loop. It's just over and over. Or I could take, because I have a song, and I could take, say, this part where it starts to change. Let's see. All right. Or I could take this part here. See, it's different. Okay, so we'll take this and split this. We split it there, and we split it here. And then we take this right here. Okay, we bring it up here. Oh, come on. Don't fight me. We bring it down here. And then we go like this. We go like this. We go like this. And I can use a different section of the music as my loop because it's a song, and because all of these are lined up to the computer's clock, so we mute this. See how that works? And then I could take this loop, this beat here, and bring it up here. And I could put a couple of these here and then put a couple of, okay, there we go here. And then put a couple of these here. Basically, when you have a song, you can grab these and break it up and do different stuff with it. So I can go like this now here. What's wrong here? Something, I got this doubled or something? Yeah, I doubled it. We got 3 of them? No, okay. How about you? Did I double you too? No. All right. How about you? Okay, I think we're going to try these here. And that. Okay. Okay, then. See, now we have a different loop. See, and because I have this song and because it's lined up to the computer, I can take any little segment out and loop it and make a whole song just from that segment rather than just buying like 4 bars, looping it, and that's your whole song. So songs are better than loops. Songs are better than beats. Okay, in general, I mean, if you buy like a loop and the loop is really, really hot, yeah, that can be good. But the person who made that loop and took that, they probably took it out of a whole song. And so if you had that whole song, then you might have changes and changes that you can add to your song. So it's not the same darn thing through 3 to 5 minutes of the same loop. Okay? And so they cut that loop probably out of a song that might have chord changes, that might have bridges, it might have chorus sections, it might have other things to it. So, I mean, if the beat works fine for you, you add other things to it, and that's all you need is that beat, and you're happy with the results, that's fine and everything. But there, in general, to be just kind of vague but general. If you can get that beat in a whole song where you've got changes and chord changes and things, because I'll tell you right now, I would never all right, undo this. I would if we just take this right here. I would never. I would feel terrible to make a song that's just this. You know, and it's kind of, the loop kind of sounds cool after about 4 or 5 times in a row. You know, you see, it's just kind of a loop. And especially if you're going to rap over it or something, you know, it's just like da 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 da, you know, and da 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 da, you know, it's like cool, yeah. But after a while, it just kind of gets, old. And the thing is you may interest your fans through the whole first time they listen to it. They may even listen to it again and again and again. But after a while, they're going to just, that same loop is just going to kind of like get old and tired. And they're just going to say, you know, because there's got to be, and that's what a lot of people who buy beats and make and use them as loops, they add other instruments, they add other stuff to provide variety and flavor and changes, okay? But if you're making your music and just using a loop and rapping to it and uploading it to the internet, like I said, that's fine to begin with, to start off. It's a good way to show your voice. It's a good way to show your writing skills. It's a good way to let people know that you're around and to show your intellect. And but eventually you need to start to produce. And producing is more than just taking a loop, looping it, writing lyrics to it, and uploading it. I think that's where the line goes from being a non-producer to a producer, is when you actually add other instruments and sounds in around your voice and around your loop and your beat. It's when you start adding other instruments and sounds to your beats, then you go from a kind of beginner artist, music artist, to a producer. And when you go from using loops and you make your own loops from scratch, I would say you go beyond being a producer. You become a composer, okay, and an arranger, and those more of a higher title than a producer, because a producer, a lot of producers just buy loops and buy samples and just stick them all together, and that, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a complicated, and it's an art form in itself, okay? But when you say, okay, I'm going to make my own samples, I'm going to play my own guitars, I'm going to play my own drums, we're going to make our own loops from scratch. Well, that is a composer. That goes beyond just producing, okay? That's which, I mean, there again, I'm using these terms loosely. Many producers are composers, and they but they still like to use the word producer. That's fine, but I'm just saying that you become a multi-instrumentalist, okay? And many producers don't play any instruments. They just go on Splice and download a bunch of samples and stick them all together into their DAW and then mix them all down, and that's their song, which is fine too, because those samples, these instrumentalists, multi-instrumentalists, worked really hard to squeeze every bit of sound and quality and put it into that little sample of maybe a trumpet going da-da-dun, da-da-dun, or something, or, or flutes going da-da-da-da-da, trilling flutes or something, and you just buy the sample and if you fit it in, you might have to tune it to your song or whatever, but you fit it in at the right part. That's an art form in itself. It's a skill. And so, but if you're going to, as a beginning music artist, it is fine to just, like I said, buy a loop it, buy a beat and loop it and do your rap to it and mix it down and upload it. That is perfectly fine. You're just starting out. You're just beginning. And if you can get that part down, then you're on your way, okay? Because it's a great way for people. And even if you can, learn your raps and rap to those beats, even like on video or something, and upload it to, and go live on YouTube. I'm live right now. If you can go live on YouTube, then you have you're on your way, okay? That's even better because they can see you, they can experience your presence. And so that's enough to get seen. That's enough to get discovered. Okay? And over time, it's just like a lot of writers, when they start out, some people like to write their books by hand, with their hand. And when they start out writing in the beginning, they have all these scribbles. But 20 years later, you see these books that they've written, and they're in the most beautiful penmanship, okay? Because they matured as a writer. And that's what happens with your beats, is that you buy beats until you learn to make beats, and then you make the beats, and then you make the beats from scratch. You start playing the instruments and putting sounds together and making the beats, and you can buy samples and make beats. But eventually you could even learn to play some of these instruments and make your own samples for your beats. And so it's kind of a layered thing, because it starts out, and I mean, years ago we didn't have beats. We couldn't buy beats. You couldn't go online to a beat store and buy like this and just buy that one beat. You couldn't do that. All you had was a room full of your instruments and your reel-to-reel or your cassette deck, and that was it. And you had to make your own songs from your instruments. And a lot of people didn't even have synthesizers. I didn't start out with synthesizers. I started out with guitars and drummers and bass players and that's what we had. That was all we had. We couldn't go out to the beat store and buy beats. And I mean, it's nice that you can go out and buy beats, and as anyone who buys a lot of beats, they know that you can buy beats that everybody else can buy, and so you buy the same beat seller will that sounds even worse. Yeah, it's like the root seller, but the same beat seller will sell you a beat, and they'll sell that same exact beat to like 50 other people, and every person's going to use that beat and loop it and rap to it, and then you're going to upload your song to the internet, and and you're going to find out somebody's going to say, "Oh, you copied somebody else's song." It's like, no, they copied me. So, it's just, and then there are some beat sellers or beat producers that sell beats. No way I can say that without sounding funny, but that sell beats exclusively. They'll say, okay, this beat, I made this beat, and you're the only person I'm going to sell it to, and I will never sell it to anybody else. It's yours forever. But the thing is they want a lot of money for that beat. Because they can make a lot of money selling it to 50 different people. But there are exclusive sellers of beats. So they will sell you only one person their beat. And then there are sellers who sell the beat as many times as you want. And there's no problem with buying a beat that everybody else has bought. Just make sure your song's better than theirs. Whatever you do with that beat, do something better than everybody else did with it. That's what it's about. So people say, "Oh, you copied somebody else's." Say they copied your song. We just found out they copied your song, and it's like, it's nice when they say they copied your song rather than you copied their song. Okay, because if they say they copied your song, that means they think your song is better, is the real deal, and their song is kind of like, is more amateurish. So, that's the thing, is that it's okay to use beats. Songs are better, okay, because then you can chop up the songs and you can have different. It's not going to always sound the same through all the song. At least there might be some changes in the song that you can have, okay, where you just have like a bridge or a chorus music that's a little bit better. So songs are better than beats because the songs will have your loop in it, but then they'll have more. They're just going to have more if you need it. If you want to have changes in your song, the song will have more. So that's really the thing about beats versus songs, is that, unless it's just a really killer beat, it's just like, wow, listen to that beat, and listen to that loop, it's just so amazing. But, I'd still rather have the whole song that loop was cut from. I would rather have the changes because, during the chorus part, yeah, you want that loop. But during the verse part, you want that loop. You got to have that loop that just keeps looping around and around. That's the signature of the song. But during the chorus, you might want to go into a whole different kind of thing and have somebody even sing and have, or something. And then the rapper comes back in again with that loop, that loop that is such that signature loop. And if you don't have a song with those other sections, like chorus sections and bridge sections and the ending where everything kind of fades out, it's like you don't want the loop is just going to stop, be end, like gone. Song's over. And but if you buy the whole song, you might end up with something like this, where you go here. And that's the end of your song. All right? And so instead of just like and it's gone, because you just, or every song on your album fades out because you're just fading out and the loop just keeps going on and on and on. And it just, every song on your album just fades. And some songs you have to make interesting endings on your songs. You don't want them just all to fade out the same way. It's kind of boring, you know? It's like, so that's just a different ending right there, okay? It shows that you have an ending. And that's why if you buy the whole song, you're going to have different. This song, it may have an underlying loop underneath it, okay? But it might have this repeating loop underneath it all, except for this section. Like I said, this section. See, this part doesn't do the bridge part. And like even when it sounds like it's doing the same thing here. See, that's one. Now there's another instrument. Now that the drums were a little bit different there. And now you get something, another instrument. See, that part's not in the beginning. There's no down, down, down. See, so you get different variations of the loop, because this is the loop here. This is the loop right here. It starts right here. So that's the loop. But then, so that's the loop. It looks like it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 bars. This loop, and but the thing about this is when you get to this section here, then this is not that loop. It's got the same drum beat, but that's not the same loop. And then this section here, it looks like it goes through it twice. Yeah, or 3 times. So then we go. Then. So it goes through that whole section for 4 bars. And then they're going to add probably some. And this is where you need some organs. Okay. Some organs with some vibrato in them, like. Go through this like this, like 1 time, and then in come the organs. So you add things to your tracks. So I'm making this video to help some artists break out of the loop mentality where it's the loops are fine. Okay, but to just take the same loop and play it through the whole song and sing to it or rap to it and just keep repeating the loop and then just kind of fade out. Okay, like I said, that is fine to start off as an artist. But if you go around on the internet and you're at some music store online and all they sell is beats where you buy like a beat, then you want to look around to other stores, and you'll find that there are stores out there that sell songs instead of beats. And so you want to start buying songs, and then you take these songs and you add, eventually, it's like you got to first, and then you can chop the songs up. You want to line them up to your DAW and get the beats per minute lined up, okay? Because sometimes they don't line up well, and sometimes you have to stretch them to make them fit the beats per minute, and sometimes you just have to ignore the beats per minute altogether and just let and just follow the music. But there's ways in your DAW to stretch them to fit the beats per minute if they're a little bit off. So you line them up, and then you can chop them and put them into pieces and make them fit your lyrics and all. And then once you do that, then you embellish the song. You add, like I said, organs, and you add other instruments, maybe some brass, maybe some a choir, okay, or maybe a piano playing a little melody in the background, some kind of something that follows the melody of the chorus, maybe. There's just all kinds of options. Strings in the background, a cello that comes around. Those are some of the most common things. Oohs and ahs. You can add some oohs and ahs. You can sing some harmonies in the background. And so what happens over time is you buy the loop, you write your lyrics, and you repeat the loop over and over and over. And like I said, you can have your song, you can make 3 songs a week doing that, just buying a loop, writing some lyrics, rapping to them, and uploading them. But then when you start saying, well, I'm going to buy some songs, then you have to chop them up, and then it starts adding extra steps to your program. And then you say, well, I want to buy songs instead of loops. And so you buy, and a lot of people probably sell loops that have the chorus with them. They have the ending with them. They have all, so you can buy the loop, and then you can buy the bridge part, you can buy the chorus part, you can buy the first verse part, you can buy the second verse part. That is theoretically, a song of loops. And that's what this is. This is because I've lined this up, so like I showed you, I can just chop this at any place, and it will fit right in with the music. I can take this section and put this here, and that section and put that there, and basically align them into another track in whatever order that I want to align them. So, but then But taking and chopping up a song like that and aligning it up takes more time than just taking a loop and repeating it over and over and rapping to the whole thing and then uploading it like old school style, okay? It takes more time. And so the more progressed you become as a producer and as a composer, and as a multi-instrumentalist, the more times your songs start to take. And so then, taking a week to make a song, it's always nice when you buy like a big, long song and you don't really, every once in a while, it's just got everything. It's got the bass, it's got all the changes, it's got the solo parts, it's got everything you need, and all you got to do is sing to it and edit your vocals and upload it. And that's nice when that happens, but that is so rare. It's so rare to find a song to buy a song, and then you figure, okay, well, probably somebody else bought that song, and that's what they did. They basically just wrote some words for it, sung them to the music, and when you hear their song, they may actually have their melody of singing might be so close to yours that you wonder if you were both channeling something from the same page in the ether or whatever. So so eventually you might start making your own songs from scratch. And all of these things I do as an artist. I I don't take a loop and just repeat it and rap to it or sing to it. That's just something that I don't do. Um, I've never done that. Well, actually, I've taken a loop and looped it, but then added all kinds of other instruments to kind of distract from the fact that it was just a loop. I've done that quite a few times. And I've had a few of my fans kind of complain and say, this is like a 2-chord song, dude. You know, you can do a little bit better than that. And I try to argue and say, well, it's actually kind of descending in chords, and there's actually about 8 chords in this. But it's those 8 chords in a couple of bars repeated over and over and over and over. So yeah, it's and your fans are gonna come up and say, it's your lyrics are dope, but but that's just your music is so repetitive. It's so and so you got to break out eventually and start working with bigger files, okay, with songs. And if you can go to a website that sells songs, then you can chop them up and put them in the order and have something a little bit. And then if you can buy some VST instruments, then you can add sounds and organs and cellos and oohs and ahs and choirs and soul singers and jazz guitars and brass, woodwinds. You could add drum beats. You can add some bass underneath the song to warm it up a little bit. So then that takes time. That's when you start adding more, but by putting more time into your song, your fans notice it, and they say, this song has variety, and they'll listen to it more. And when you and the thing is that some of these loops are performed by some like godlike instrumentalists. That all they do, like with me, I'm okay as an instrumentalist but the thing is that I didn't just learn how to play my guitar and that was it. I had to learn how to sing. I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to record. I had to learn how to mix. I had to learn how to master. I had to learn how to comment to my fans for hours on end. I had to learn how to publish. I had to learn how to deal with the record labels. And so I had to learn all kinds of other things. So it took me away from learning to play my guitar like Jimi Hendrix. And so buying some of these songs, you're able to make use of composers and producers and instrumentalists who, even though you may be a good composer and a good instrumentalist and a good producer, they may have been able to spend more time because they didn't have to learn how to be a lyricist. They didn't have to learn how to develop their voice and spend years doing scales and learning how to make various tones and with their voice and exercise this big, huge muscle here, and make it very, very powerful, strong. So they didn't have to do that. So they had all the time they needed to learn how to play jazz guitar and play all these funky chords and everything. So that's the benefit of buying songs and buying loops, is you end up with something kind of that you might not have been able to do even though you're a good composer. So compose some of your songs, and some of your songs you might want to just buy some, make a variety with your music, and some of them you might buy a loop and then just add a few instruments. Some of them you might buy a whole song and chop it up, and so that you have different chorus music and different. So just use all of these, the beats and songs. And I would say, like I said, songs are almost always better than beats. Okay? Because a song can have that beat within it that you can just loop if you want to, but it has other stuff. And that's why songs are just beats. So that's why. And so if you have a vendor who is selling you beats, look around and see if you can find some songs. And you can still loop the parts of those songs, but then you have other parts of it that have the same instruments. They have the same musical flavor, so they fit. And if you've ever worked with a beat and said, gosh, I just wish I could change the chords in this beat for this section of the song, well, you can't, because they're all glued into that beat, and there's nothing you can do to get them out. Sometimes you can extract the drums out of a beat, but that's just about it. Sometimes you can use like isotope and change the volumes of some of the things in the beat, but that's about it. You really can't extract much out of that beat and have it sound really good. So you're stuck with that little repetitious beat, that loop that's going to loop over and over and over through the whole song and then just end. And so, or fade. So that's what that's this talk about beats versus songs. Songs, it's okay to use beats, and when you start out and just write your lyrics to it, loop the beats and upload them. That's fine. It's fine to do it, but eventually look around for some songs and try and put a little bit more time into your songs than a few days of writing it, rapping it, and uploading it. Put a week into your song and chop up a whole song and align it to the different sections of your rap or your song, and if you buy the songs, then you have changes in the original, in the loop. You've got different changes. You've got chorus sections and verse sections and bridge sections. And then the second time the chorus comes in, it's a little louder, it's a little stronger, it's a little bit, that's the way a song is. And so it gives you the whole song. So this is just to open your perceptions, to open your mind to variety, to different things that you can do with your music. So I hope this was helpful. That's going to do it for me. And I guess we're going to just kind of play our way out of here. And please like and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. And if you want to leave comments, if this was helpful, please leave comments. Your likes help me in the algorithm on YouTube. All right, take care, everybody. And I will see you in the next Cakewalk by Bandlab video. All right, Angus, thank you for checking in tonight. You have a wonderful evening, and I will see you again in the next Cakewalk by Bandlab TV video. All righty.